Commander Zekthara's mandibles clicked nervously as she reviewed the incident report for the third time. The holographic display flickered with data that should have been impossible, yet here it was, documented by 17 different sensor arrays and witnessed by half the crew of the Celestial Harmony. "Explain this to me again," she said to her chief science officer, Dr. Veltar, whose 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sure sign of stress among the Veltani species. "The human children," Dr. Veltar began, his voice trembling slightly, "were playing in the observation deck when the solar storm hit. The emergency protocols engaged, sealing all exits, but the artificial gravity generator in that section failed during the electromagnetic surge." Zekthara nodded. Standard procedure would have been to activate the emergency life pods, but the children had been in the one section of the ship where the pod systems had been undergoing maintenance. And then? The viewing panel. It cracked. Full breach. The section was exposed to hard vacuum and direct solar radiation from the Class A star we were studying. Dr. Veltar's tentacles writhed anxiously. "Any of our species would have died in seconds. The humans should have died in seconds." The commander pulled up the security footage. On the display, she watched 12 human children, ranging in age from 6 to 14 Earth years, react to the catastrophic breach. Instead of panic, instead of the immediate death that any rational being would expect, something extraordinary happened. Young Marcus, barely 8 years old, had grabbed his younger sister Emma and pressed his back against the bulkhead, using his body to shield her from the worst of the radiation. The older children, Sarah, David, and the twins Kai and Kira, had immediately begun organizing the younger ones, creating a human chain that somehow redistributed the effects of the vacuum exposure. "Look at this." Dr. Veltar highlighted a section of the footage. "They're not just surviving, they're adapting. See how they're breathing? Shallow, controlled. They instinctively went into some sort of conservation mode." Zekthara watched in amazement as the children seemed to enter a semi-meditative state. Their movements became deliberate, economical. The older ones used their bodies to create windbreaks for the younger ones, while the smallest children curled into tight balls, minimizing their surface area exposed to the void. How long were they exposed? 14 minutes and 37 seconds. The emergency repair drones finally managed to seal the breach and restore atmosphere. 14 minutes in hard vacuum. 14 minutes of radiation that would have fried the cellular structure of any known sentient species. The commander had seen seasoned Veltani warriors die from exposure to far less hostile conditions. When the rescue team reached them, Dr. Veltar continued, they found all 12 children conscious and, well, see for yourself. The footage switched to the rescue operation. As the sealed doors opened and the medical team rushed in, they found the human children sitting in a circle, the youngest ones in the center. They were talking quietly among themselves, comparing the reddened patches on their skin like they were discussing playground scrapes. "Did you see the solar flares, Emma?" Marcus was saying to his sister, pointing out the viewing panel at the still raging storm. "They looked like giant fire flowers." Little Emma giggled, her face bright red from radiation exposure but her eyes sparkling with excitement. "The stars looked different when the window broke." "They were singing!" The rescue team's leader, Dr. Henneth of the Crystalline Collective, had approached with scanners ready, expecting to treat radiation poisoning, decompression trauma, and possibly perform last rites. Instead, she found herself running routine scans on children who were treating their brush with death like an unexpected field trip. "Sunburn," she had reported back to the bridge, her voice filled with disbelief. "They have what the humans call sunburn, and possibly some minor dehydration. Otherwise, they're in perfect health." Back in the present, Commander Zekthara reviewed the medical reports. Human physiology, it seemed, was far more resilient than any of the galactic community had realized. Their skin, apparently evolved under the radiation of their own star, could withstand exposure levels that would be lethal to most species. Their cardiovascular system could function even under severe pressure differentials. Most remarkably, their psychological response to trauma seemed to involve a peculiar adaptation, where they processed terrifying experiences as adventures. "Commander," her communications officer called out, "the human parents are here for the children." Zekthara made her way to the medical bay, where she found the 12 young humans regaling their families with animated stories of their space adventure. The parents, who had been frantically worried during the incident, now stood in a mixture of relief, pride, and exasperation that seemed uniquely human. And then the stars got really bright, Kai was explaining to his mother, and Kira said it looked like someone was welding in space. His twin sister nodded enthusiastically. Marcus saved Emma by being a human shield, and David taught us the holding breath game from swimming class. The parents exchanged glances that somehow communicated volumes, a silent conversation about how these resilient little beings they had created could turn a near-death experience into a source of excitement and pride. Dr. Henoth approached Commander Zekthara. "I've been practicing medicine for 60 cycles," she said quietly, "and I've never seen anything like this. They're not just tough, they're adapting in real time. Their bodies seem designed for environments that should kill them." As the families prepared to leave, young Emma tugged on Commander Zekthara's lower appendage. "Miss Commander," she said, looking up with those impossibly bright human eyes, "can we do that again sometime? But maybe with sunscreen next time?" Zekthara looked down at the small human, her reddened face still glowing with joy from her brush with the void, and realized that the galaxy's understanding of human resilience had been dramatically underestimated. These weren't just survivors. They were explorers who could find wonder in the face of annihilation. "Perhaps," she said softly, "we should redesign our emergency protocols to account for human enthusiasm." As the families departed, the commander made a note in her personal log. Recommendation: when exploring hazardous regions, bring humans. They appear to be the galaxy's natural Voidwalkers, and they'll probably enjoy the experience.